وجاد وجل من تكريمه بانا في سار مولد من في البار ربانا.
Foncab TV télé Khadimou Rassoul.
واجعل صغيرنا يوقر الكبير واجعل كبيرنا يحيل الصغير واجعل قلوبنا على توادد بلا تناسح ولا تحاسد
Walaikum assalam, Tonto Mamadou. I'm doing good, alhamdulillah. So what inspired me to have Touba on my license plate is that Touba has been a site that I've always looked up to all my life. So since I was a child, I've always been exposed to Muridism, like from the qasidas being played in the house to having a picture of Mom sitting in Touba. So I always knew Touba, you know, and the linkage between that. I said, okay, one of these days I definitely have to visit, which I did. I remember going when I was 6 years old. I did go when I was about 2, but I don't have any kind of recollection of all that. But when I went when I was 6 years old, and then finally being able to see the masjid and a site that Imam Serigne Touba himself created and so forth, it really was inspiring seeing like everyone unite together for the sake of carrying out Imam Serigne Touba's legacy. And so from there I said, okay, this is basically an identity of mine, you know. I always made it my, I guess you could say, my goal to ensure that I carried that with me wherever I go. So I said, you know what, let me just slap that on my license plate. And it helped a lot in a way. So it's like basically an identity of mine. So even like at work, people are like, what is Touba? Like, what is the significance behind that? And it kind of incites a conversation, you know, and it kind of makes them more curious to know about who Imam Serigne Touba is and what Muridism is all about. So the first question I usually get when people see my license plate itself, they ask, what is Touba? And I tell them, well, you know, I kind of explain the whole significance behind Imam Serigne Touba. And then they ask me, I tell them how he was a spiritual leader. He was not just a spiritual leader, but also a Pan-Africanist from Senegal. And I always tell them that if it wasn't for him, Senegal wouldn't be the way it is with the Islamic identity we have there. And that sparks definitely a whole lot of conversation going on because people hear about Senegal, but they don't hear negative things about it. So I tell them that's the main reason why, because peace is there, mainly because of the teachings we've had due to Imam Serigne Touba and so forth. But it does definitely incite some conversation for the most part. Even I remember, for example, when I was in high school, I was part of this thing called the International Baccalaureate Program. And our final year, we had to do an essay on any topic of our choice. I chose religion and decided to focus on Imam Serigne Touba. So I had a mentor who was my history teacher who kind of helped me guide me through being able to write the essay and so forth. And he had questions. He said, wow, this essay is really nice. Like he wanted to even learn more about Imam Serigne Touba, which was very, very touching, and I actually did good on the essay too. Yeah, so stuff like that really helps spark conversations and so forth. So the message I conveyed in my essays when I wrote about Imam Serigne Touba was the importance of being a Muslim and holding on to your values regardless of what the world may think of you. Because if you look at Imam Serigne Touba, for example, he had gone through a lot with the French people. I mean, they had put him through a lot in terms of trying to basically erase him altogether. But his will to please Allah and carry out Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu teachings definitely allowed him to reach his destination. And you see how much of an influence he has now, not just in Senegal, but everywhere. So like, for example, we have our dairas, we have functions where we all unite together, we have FONCAB. I mean, these are just like small prime examples of the legacy Imam Serigne Touba has left for us. So that's the type of message I was conveying within my essay, so that people make sure that they hold on to their values, regardless of what goes on in the world, like never be influenced by what others might tell you to do, especially if it's a negative thing. So that was the message I definitely wanted to convey in my essays and managed to do. So being born and raised here in the United States, two of the main values that I've learned from Imam Serigne Touba in general is, again, holding on to your Muslim identity. Because, again, for me, I've been exposed, alhamdulillah, I've had the privilege of going to an Islamic school from kindergarten up until 7th grade. So my parents made sure those values were installed in me. But the fact that I was exposed to Muridism also helped even 10 times more, because I kind of compare myself to some of my peers that I went to school with, and I see how we've been raised differently. Muridism itself, we definitely emphasize the importance of prayer, alhamdulillah. So that itself has definitely remained with me. Another value I've learned is the importance of being yourself and being true to yourself and respecting others and your elders, who, or even youngsters, whoever it is, like just respecting people in general. Because, like nowadays, kids or people in general have this habit of disrespecting people because, for example, they might say, "Oh, you're not my relative," or "I don't know you like that. I can talk to you however I want." But that's not how we were raised in the muddied way. For us, we're supposed to respect each other regardless, greet each other, "Assalamu alaikum," treat each other respectfully, according to Islam and so forth. And those values have carried on, especially in the workforce. At least I noticed that even my managers, even district managers, see that. And they always thank me for that as well, for being respectful to people regardless of their age, ethnicity, race, all that. So one thing I could tell my peers and people out there about the importance of submission, according to the Taliban method, basically, is that, again, you're not necessarily submitting yourself to one person. And what we should all focus on is focusing on being submissive to Allah, period. But the Taliban way, to me at least, is showing respect, following orders, and making yourself known so that people can have the ability to trust you. That's how I see it. Because once people sense that in you, I mean, I'm telling you, you have so many opportunities that will open up for you, period. Whether it's work, school, internships, anything regarding that. So that's what I try to remind myself and others, even my siblings, like telling them, hey, this is what being a Talib is all about. Because sometimes I guess people they kind of get confused about the whole conception behind being a Talib. They think, oh, you just have to submit to one man or a person or a sitting, and that's it. But I feel like some people have kind of twisted that and kind of taken that out of context. So again, for me, and what I advise people is to view being a Talib as someone who respects others and make sure it's reciprocal. So whoever it is that you're interacting with happens to respect you and you respect them. So my upbringing as a Murid definitely helped me navigate through high school and college in a very, I guess you could say, blissful way. Because again, high school is one of those things where people are just, I mean, everyone just acts crazy, I remember seeing fights right in front of me and everyone was just like, oh my God, there's a fight, let's go see, or people doing drugs, for example, or engaging in affairs. I always reminded myself that, hey, yes, they may have a different upbringing, but I will make sure that they don't influence me easily, So that upbringing definitely helped me in a way from resorting to that type of lifestyle, and also making sure that I happened to interact with people who had similar beliefs as I did. Because I'm telling you, for me, being influenced by peers is definitely a big thing, especially at a young age. So I always made sure that I, try to remain friends with people who were serious about school, had, a goal, wanted goal for all. And if religion is part of their picture, because again, not everyone in high school is religious. Some people are just trying to find themselves and so forth. But at least try to mingle with people so that even I can use that as an opportunity to maybe expose them to Islam, I mean, even one of my friends I'm very close with, we've been talking about Islam for the longest. I'm hoping one day she converts, inshallah. But it all started with just a simple conversation about Muridism and Islam altogether. So one of these days, I'm hoping she comes around. But for the most part, that's definitely helped me navigate through high school, especially. And then with college, with the party scenes being there, people dwelling in all types of, crazy activities. Again, that Murid identity helped me refrain from that. Because I know I come home, do whatever it is I have to do, pray, all that, and then go back right into the routine, So I wasn't necessarily the type of person who was going out there engaging in those, I guess you could say, organizations where it's like all about partying and doing those type of things, I just wanted to make sure that I align myself with organizations that happen to match what it is that I believe in. The way I happen to manage to speak correctly, or properly at least, and at least with my friends and even in the workforce and at school, is by, honestly, I would say just being myself, and holding on to the Murid values of what I've been taught, at least, I was always taught to be respectful to people, again, like I mentioned earlier, regardless of who you are. And so I've ensured that I've continued on with that flow. I would say it's really about the way I was raised, alhamdulillah, and the teachings that I've been taught through Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, period. That's just how I see it. The respect I've gained from the teachers as far as like speaking right and so forth, it's really helped me as far as like, especially in my career, because I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I'm interacting with clients and so forth, helping them, which allows them to gain trust in me because they know that, okay, this person sounds knowledgeable, they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So that definitely helps. And then teachers, I've always managed to respect me because of the way I speak and how I respect them and how I give them my attention. Because sometimes you'll see in classes, people will just be on their phones or texting or like, you know, on the computers and so forth. When you give the teacher your full undivided attention, they notice that. And they want to come to you and help you, especially even if you're not even requesting help. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, you know, if you have any questions, let me know, things like that. Which is just a note I want to give to kids out there. Just make sure you're always listening. Speaking properly helps a lot. It really does. You know, I would say read books. Read Quran, read the hadiths, read the Hasidas or whatever it is. Because they're all, even the grammar, the way it's written, it also helps in a way too, I feel. It really helps with the way you speak, the way you write and so forth. And it helps kind of expand your brain and so forth, so yeah. One advice I would love to give to everyone out there, especially young people, go out there and interact with people who have the same beliefs as you do. You know, especially in a country that we are now and the way the deen right now is, I find it very important for people to interact with others, learn more about your culture, your religion, your roots, especially since our parents immigrated from, you know, countries like Senegal, Gambia, wherever it is, and you see all the hard work that they've done, but also ensure that you're able to live up to their expectations by succeeding. You know, they made all these sacrifices for a reason, but I just want to remind people, don't ever lose yourself going through that process. It's very easy to be influenced by others in this country. So my word of advice is, again, interacting with people in your own community helps a lot. You know, learning about your deen, exposing yourself to Hasidas or whatever it is that you believe in and so forth, it really helps a lot. So I just wanted to throw that out there for the kids. Bi tax ma bind Touba ci sama plaque oto bi c'est que Touba dafa doon loo xamante ni nekk na place bu ma neex yàgg neex depuis ba ma nekkee xale. Donc maa ngi fàttali bi ma demee bi ma amee ay 6 ans ma gis jumaa ji gis taalibe yi nekk ci tali ak ci masjid bi sax di jàng seen alxuraan gars yi nekk foofu di jàng seen xasida aussi daf ma yàgg neex. Donc loolu tax dama ne ok xam naa ne bis bu ma amee oto wala leneen loo xamante ni mën naa ko wan ni que ni damaa nekk murid naa ko bind sama oto. Donc loolu tax ma def loolu. Ba léegi li ma jàng ci yoonu murid tax na ma gën a fonk sama diine, gën a fonk samay waajur et puis gën a fonk sama liggéey ak samay jàng parce que ba léegi ci boppam tax na ma doon li ma doon tey parce que maa ngi gis sama yeneen gone yi nekk école yi ak yooyu ñu xaw a déplacé wu et puis ni ñuy fàtte ñun ñëpp dinañ dem donc li ñu war a def mooy gën a fonk seen diine gën a fonk suñu waajur ak lépp li nga xamante ni daal tax na ñu doon ay nit yu baax. li may conseil ñi nga xamante ni Sénégal la ñu jógee ñu fii bu leen mas a fàtte fi leen jógee parce que loolu tax di ngeen gën a avancer fii nii. li ngay gis gars yi di doxee di wàcc seen tuwe yi di def lu leen neex xam nga loolu moom nekkul jikko ju baax donc li may leen di conseiller mooy da ngeen fexee ba xam fan ngeen féete ak seen borom loolu mooy numéro 1 et puis na ngeen fexee ba gën a fonk seen diine loolu moo leen jàppale bu baax parce que ñi ma xam ñi jógee Sénégal ñu fii te ñu ngi dund lu baax ñoom ñëpp seen diine leen gën a fonk te loolu tax ñu avancer ci seen vie donc loolu laa leen di conseiller et puis bu dee nekk nga murid aussi bul fàtte yoonu Maam Serigne Touba loolu moom moo lay jàppale bu baax so yaa loolu laa leen di conseiller.
وجاد وجه لمن تكريمه بانا في سار مولد من في البار ربانا
Foncab TV télé Khadimou Rassoul